Welcome back to my channel, Rare American Coins. Today, we dive into the fascinating and often overlooked world of the Jefferson nickel, specifically focusing on the 1959 issue. This coin is a part of American numismatic history, with a legacy that dates back to the early 20th century and holds more than just face value. It tells a story of economic change, wartime adjustments, industrial development, and American pride. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, which had become outdated and difficult to strike. The United States Mint wanted a design that would honor one of the nation's founding fathers, and Thomas Jefferson was selected as the central figure. This decision coincided with the bicentennial of Jefferson's birth. The original design for the obverse, or the front of the coin, features a left-facing portrait of Jefferson designed by Felix Schlag, a German-American sculptor who won a public competition held by the Mint in 1938. His design also includes the motto, "In God We Trust," and the word liberty, followed by the year of mintage. On the reverse of the Jefferson nickel, Schlag's design showcased Jefferson's Virginia home, Monticello, an architectural icon symbolic of Jefferson's intellect and vision for the country. However, the original design of Monticello was modified by Mint engravers before production due to concerns about clarity and striking quality over the years. This reverse design has undergone several updates and redesigns, but from 1938 until 2003, the general structure remained the same, including the 1959 issue, which we focus on today. Now let us journey into the year 1959 to understand the historical and economic context surrounding this particular Jefferson nickel. 1959 was a year of post-war stability in the United States. The nation was experiencing the economic boom known as the Golden Age of capitalism. Industrial productivity was high, unemployment was low, and the Cold War had intensified, bringing both military investment and geopolitical tension into the economy. Coins minted during this period reflected the durability and stability of U.S. currency, and the Jefferson nickel was no exception. The 1959 Jefferson nickel was produced at two facilities: the Philadelphia Mint, which did not include a mint mark, and the Denver Mint, which featured a small D mint mark to the right of Monticello on the reverse. Together, these facilities struck over 219 million Jefferson nickels in 1959, with Denver producing about 160 million and Philadelphia about 59 million. This makes the 1959 D variety significantly more common in circulation. However, not all nickels are created equal, as coin collectors know. Rarity is not determined solely by mintage numbers, but by condition mint errors, varieties, and historical importance. A key area of interest for collectors in the Jefferson nickel series is full steps designation. This refers to the number of clearly defined steps on the Monticello building on the reverse of the coin. To qualify as full steps, or FS, a coin must show 5 or 6 complete lines in unbroken detail. These are difficult to preserve during the minting process and even harder to retain through circulation making. Full steps coins particularly valuable in uncirculated condition for the 1959 Jefferson nickel. Especially from the Philadelphia Mint, full steps examples are rare and can command high premiums at auction, especially in grades MS 65 and above. We must also examine the material composition of the 1959 nickel. It continued the standard 5-cent alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel, a composition that has remained remarkably consistent since the inception of the Jefferson nickel in 1938, except for the special wartime nickels produced from 1942 to 1945, which contained silver to conserve nickel for military use. The 1959 nickels do not contain silver, but their high quality of strike, particularly from the Denver Mint, makes them popular among those seeking high-grade specimens. One of the more intriguing aspects of coin collecting involves errors and varieties. The 1959 Jefferson nickel has a few known die varieties and errors, though not as numerous as other years. Collectors have identified repunched mint marks, also known as RPMs, where the D mint mark appears doubled or slightly offset. This is the result of the mint mark being hand-punched into the die multiple times and not aligning perfectly. The value of these error coins can range significantly based on visibility and condition, with clear RPM examples fetching much more than face value. Another area of interest is plancher errors, such as clipped planchets or off-center strikes. These occur when the coin blank or plancher is improperly cut or positioned during the minting process. These kinds of errors are rare, but valuable, especially in coins from 1959. As minting technology was improving, but still not immune to occasional mechanical flaws. In addition to these technical aspects, we must explore the cultural relevance of the Jefferson nickel and why collectors are drawn to coins. Like the 1959 issue, Jefferson's image represents not only a president and a statesman, but also the ideals of the Enlightenment era, reason, liberty, and the pursuit of knowledge. Monticello is more than just a house. It is a symbol of Jefferson's belief in education, architecture, agriculture, and innovation. These philosophical underpinnings make the Jefferson nickel a unique piece of American ideological heritage, and the 1959 coin captures that legacy in a physical form. The coin also serves as a marker of mid-century Americana. The post-war era was a time of suburban expansion, interstate highways, home appliances, and space race aspirations in your pocket. The 1959 nickel traveled through diners, drive-in theaters, gas stations, and grocery stores. It played a quiet role in a changing America, touching the hands of soldiers returning from Korea, factory workers, steel mill operators, and kids buying their first baseball cards. The nickel was everyday currency, but it was also a silent witness to an era of transformation. When considering how to collect or invest in 1959 Jefferson nickels, there are several factors to keep in mind. First, look for uncirculated examples, preferably in mint-state condition coins that have never been in general circulation and still retain their original luster. Next, examine the strike quality, especially on the reverse. The clarity of Monticello's steps can significantly affect value. Certified grading services like PCGS and NGC have helped standardize these assessments, and their population reports can guide collectors in understanding rarity and market demand. Auction records show that full steps examples of the 1959 Jefferson nickel can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition, and pedigree coins with dramatic errors or exceptional preservation are frequently featured in major coin auctions and numismatic expos, further emphasizing the enduring appeal of this coin. In summary, the 1959 Jefferson nickel is not merely a 5-cent piece. It is a miniature monument to American ideals, mid-century culture, and numismatic artistry. It reflects a steady hand in a turbulent world, a democratic value system encoded in metal, and a timeless representation of one of the most influential figures in U.S. history. As collectors, we look beyond the surface of a coin. We see the stories it holds, the hands it passed through, and the ideals it represents. Thank you for watching, and welcome back to Rare American Coins. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below if you own a 1959 Jefferson nickel or have stories about collecting this fascinating piece of American history. Stay tuned for more deep dives into rare coins and hidden gems in U.S. currency. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Rare American Coins, where today we're diving into the rich and fascinating world of the Jefferson nickel, specifically focusing on the year 1967, a pivotal time in American numismatic history that reflects not only changes in coin design and production, but also the broader economic and political context of the United States during the mid-20th century. This episode will take you through a deep historical journey starting from the inception of the Jefferson nickel in 1938, all the way through its transformation and unique circumstances surrounding the 1967 issue, which continues to capture the interest of collectors, historians, and investors alike. To understand the importance of the 1967 Jefferson nickel, we must first look back to the end of the Buffalo nickel era, which concluded in 1938 after being in circulation for 25 years. The United States Mint opened American Republic and the architectural legacy of Jefferson himself, throughout the early years of production, the Jefferson nickel maintained consistent design elements, but the historical events of the 1940s brought significant changes during World War II. The U.S. Mint temporarily removed nickel from the composition of the coin due to the critical need for the metal in wartime manufacturing from 1942 to 1945. The nickels were made of an alloy containing silver, copper, and manganese, which not only changed the appearance of the coin, but also created a subset of nickels known as war nickels, easily identified by a large mint mark above Monticello, including the rare P for Philadelphia, which had never appeared on a U.S. coin before. Once the war ended, the mint returned to the original copper-nickel composition and continued producing Jefferson nickels with little variation into the 1950s and early 1960s, however. As the 1960s progressed, America faced a coin shortage and rising metal prices, especially due to the widespread hoarding of silver coins by the public. The Coinage Act of 1965 was passed, eliminating silver from circulating dimes and quarters and implementing various measures to stabilize coin production, while the nickel remained unaffected in composition. The act influenced the entire minting process, particularly in the years immediately following 1965, including 1967. In that year, the United States Mint did not place mint marks on any of its coins as a temporary measure to discourage coin hoarding and speculation. Mint marks, which identify the facility where a coin was produced, were omitted from the Jefferson nickel as well, making all 1967 nickels appear to have been struck in the same location when in fact they were minted in both Philadelphia and Denver. Although no mint mark appears on these coins, this lack of a distinguishing mark has made the 1967 Jefferson nickel a subject of intense scrutiny among collectors who examine strike-quality die varieties and minting anomalies to identify the source and value of specific pieces. Additionally, in 1967, the mint was still adjusting to the shift in coinage materials and methods initiated by the Coinage Act of 1965, including improvements in minting technology and quality control systems, which affected the characteristics of the coins produced in that period. This makes 1967 nickels particularly interesting for die variety collectors, since transitional inconsistencies in the minting process often led to errors and variations, such as doubled dies, over-polished dies, and die clashes. These rare errors have elevated some 1967 Jefferson nickels to premium status, especially when found in high grades or with sharp details. Many collectors also look for full steps on the Monticello reverse, a condition designation that refers to the visibility and completeness of the steps on the building. Such coins are graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC and are significantly more valuable due to their rarity. The 1967 Jefferson nickel is also notable for its role in coin packaging history as the United States Mint began issuing special mint sets instead of traditional proof sets. During the years 1965 through 1967, these special mint sets or SMS coins were produced with higher quality than standard circulation coins, but not quite to the mirror-like standard of proof coins. The SMS 1967 Jefferson nickels are sought after for their satin finish and clearer details, and when preserved properly in original government packaging, they can command high prices on the market, further complicating the value of 1967. Nickels are private counterstamps and aftermarket treatments that may confuse new collectors. These alterations often bear dates or symbols added post-mint, and while they may hold novelty value, they are generally not considered part of official U.S. coinage history. As a result, collectors must exercise caution and seek authentication from reputable grading services before purchasing high-value 1967 Jefferson nickels. Another aspect to consider is the broader economic climate of the late 1960s, which influenced U.S. mint policies. Inflation, the Vietnam War, and domestic social unrest all contributed to uncertainty and changes in public behavior. including the way Americans used and saved coins. This macroeconomic background adds context to the production and circulation of coins from that period, including the nickel, which, although not made of silver, still became part of the hoarding phenomenon of the era. The result was a surge in interest among the public in coin collecting, leading to a golden age of modern numismatics in the United States, starting in the late 1960s and continuing into the 1970s with increased interest. Came a boom in coin literature price guides and collecting clubs, which helped elevate the Jefferson nickel from simple pocket change coin to a staple of many collectors' albums today. The 1967 Jefferson nickel remains an accessible yet intriguing coin for both beginning and advanced collectors. It tells a story of economic policy, wartime adaptation design, evolution and minting technology, and its variations, errors, and high-grade examples offer opportunities for research, discovery, and potential investment as we explore real examples. This video will examine strike characteristics, compare circulation, strikes to SMS versions, investigate known errors and varieties, and look at recent auction results to give you a full picture of the Jefferson nickel in 1967 and its significance in American coinage history. Stay with me as we go deep into each of these areas and help you understand not just what makes a 1967 Jefferson nickel rare, but why it holds a lasting place in the story of American money.